If you want to find success, you have to find your tribe. You have to find the people with the same goal as you, the same level of commitment to that goal, and the same intensity moving towards that goal. However, what they don't tell you about this is this means you're going to have to walk away from people that you might like. You're gonna have to walk away from people who might be stating that they have the same goal as you. And you're gonna have to let some people down. I joined Sneezy about a year and a week ago, and I pretty much abandoned 90% of the people in my life to make this happen. And I know some of them are still salty about it, or I know some of them don't understand why they don't get to see me anymore. But the truth is, I knew for a long time that being content to give my Fridays and Saturdays to playing wedding gigs, to playing a bunch of random local gigs, to kind of being a sideman in a bunch of different projects wasn't going to work. I knew that that wasn't the path forward, but the people I kept getting myself in the same room as, the people I kept trying to share my vision with, were okay to do that. And because of that, they were never going to actually get a band on the road, actually go all in on something larger than themselves. And when I found Sneezy, when I found this group of people who are saying, this is the music project that I do, I am all in on this project. Everything I do is to further this project, including like the money I make from my day job is so that I can go out on the road with this band on the weekend. And my commitment to my day job is lower than the commitment to this band. The people in the band with day jobs, they take gigs and tell their boss, sorry, I can't come in. And it's like, they're like ready to be fired from their day job to stay in the band. And I turn down gigs to make sure I can do this band. I get offered high paying gigs all the time, and I just say no to all of them. And if I say yes to one and then a Sneezy thing comes up that gets in the way, I sub out of it. And yeah, this is like the lesson that I think is actually really hard to learn, is that if you want to succeed at something great, you have to be willing to say no to people that you like. Be willing to say no to people who have invested in you. Be willing to say, hey, I appreciate your investment. And this is maybe not even a real conversation. This is an internal conversation. But willing to recognize that people who have invested in you might not be the right people. And you say, sorry, bye-bye, but you're not going where I want to go. You're not aligned with me. You're not committed to the vision. When we spend time together, we don't spiral up with inspiration. In fact, even realizing some people you spend time with bring you down. So yeah, this is like the big key to the lesson, is like the easy thing to put on Instagram and like a motivational post is find your tribe. But behind that is some really challenging work of saying no to people. And the really challenging work of realizing that saying no to people is like jumping into an unknown, and like being willing to be friendless while you search for your tribe. You know, when I look back at my time in Chicago, like I jumped through a lot of different crews. There were people I hung out with and made a lot of music with in the 2020, 2021 era. And then 2022, 2023, I did a lot more weddings and stuff, and that was a different crew. And that wasn't quite the right people. So I started to step away from that crew. I started to focus on putting my original music project together with people who weren't totally bought in and kind of stuck in some of that. And I was like, well, this isn't quite right. Maybe I can find my crew with the comedians. So I jumped in to stand-up comedy. 2023, 2024 was a lot of time with that. And it wasn't until August of 2024 when I met my Sneezy family, when I met Brett O'Connor and Austin Lutter and Tom Hannum and Jack Holland and Destiny Pavanka and Austin Koziol, that I said, this is the people who are doing what I want to do. Because what I want to do is play fun, silly, outrageous, original music for gigantic crowds of screaming fans. What I want to do is run a business that makes a lot of money, that makes a product that I'm proud of, that makes a product that a lot of people love, that is a culture-changing product. I want to be a rock star and be a leader in an organization that puts out amazing music and an amazing experience for people hungry for something that takes them away from the banality of life. And it's like so clear in retrospect that the people I was aligning myself with prior weren't interested in this. And even if they maybe were on paper, or like a little piece of them was, their actions proved they weren't, because specifically some of the people I played music with were just content to play stupid little local bar gigs, content to play weddings, content to play cover band gigs. They were okay with playing music at a like middle class freelance level. And I was never okay with this. And it took me a long time to realize like I wasn't going to convince them to also not be okay with this. I just had to moonwalk away from those fools and find the people who were not content with that and were striving for something bigger. Find the people crazy enough to hop in a van and drive 17 hours to go play for potentially no people, potentially no money, to potentially lose all their money for the opportunity of creating one new fan in New Jersey or one new fan in Pennsylvania. So yeah, that's the lesson, is that finding your tribe actually is a really painful experience. There's a lot of Band-Aid ripping off that has to go into finding your tribe. There is letting people down. And also the deeper thing I want to get at too is like, no one's eager to abandon you. And I think I spent a lot of time where it's like, I got to Chicago and like the first person I became friends with, it was like, oh, finally a friend. I didn't feel secure enough in myself. I didn't love myself enough to actually assess if that friend was somebody who had my best interest at heart. And friends after that I had too. I didn't love myself enough to see like that we weren't aligned. It's crazy to think about some of the old musicians I played with. I remember there was a time where my car was broken down and I had a gig and I wasn't sure how to get a ride there, and I didn't feel comfortable calling any of them for a ride. Yet I was like staking my future on them. And now we look at where I am now with Sneezy, and it's like, if I need a ride somewhere, I have, well, not everybody drives, but I basically have like 5 or 6 people I could call any moment, and they would say, yeah, I can give you a ride. I could call them at 4 a.m. and say, I'm stuck somewhere, I need a ride. And like the irony of it is I'll never even be in that situation because we spend so much time together. We're always doing stuff together. We're always planning and dreaming together. And like on the days where I don't feel like doing anything, Brett and Jack are like, we're doing this. And same thing on the days where they don't feel like doing anything, I say, hey, we need to work on this for the band. And everybody just has the goal of making it move forward, of keeping the train on the tracks, keeping it rolling, pouring coal in the engine, you know, putting gasoline on, turning the ignition, moving it forward so that we can actualize this dream of being rock stars together. So I'm gonna wrap this up. Find your tribe. And I guess like if I'm gonna put it into a lesson plan, it's like, one, like know that like even if you don't have any friends, like you gotta love yourself. Like it's okay if you realize nobody around you is like on the same path as you, rip the Band-Aid. It's okay. Be alone. Be okay with losing all your friends, because like if they're going in the wrong direction, they're going in the wrong direction. Rip the Band-Aid. Stop walking with them. Stop walking in the wrong direction. This can be anything, you know, this could be like people who want to drink too much, or people who are just like content with mediocrity. Like stop walking in the wrong direction. Like be willing to look in the mirror and say like, I love myself enough to be alone, and at least stop walking in the wrong direction than like need to walk in the wrong direction just so I can feel a part of something. And be like ruthless about what you say no to. It's like, if it's like not actually gonna move you towards where you want to go, say no and take the leap of faith and trust that the thing that takes you where you want to go is on the other side of that no. Look at that rhyme. I'm so smart. I'll rap in the street and I won't do a fart because I'm afraid of pooping in my pants. Gotta do a quick street dance. Yeah. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.